Sorry about that. So today is June 26th. Our DOT funding ends at the end of this month, so you have 4 days to spend your money. 4 days. So if you have any problems or need help, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am available to help you do that. Uh, if you need an update as to what you've spent, please don't hesitate to email Dana, CC me on it because I can get her to respond a little faster. Um, and I know that in the past, it's been that she wants the reporting done by July 15. As long as you have the reporting submitted by the end of July, so July 31st, you are fine, okay? Because I know that a lot of us have credit card statements that overlap 2 months. Mine does that. So I talked to Dana about it. She said that's completely fine. Just have all your paperwork submitted by July 31st, okay? And then if you have any come across any problems, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or Dana as well. Uh, Also, something I emailed about is we are opening up KFB affiliate board members. We have 3 slots that we will be filling. We are looking to make a decision in July, so you have until the 30th to just send me an email and tell me you're interested if you are. No worries if you're not. And so again, welcome to everyone. This webinar is actually great for a lot of the southeastern states. And Jean, I didn't mention this, but we actually put this up on the Keep America Beautiful webinar listserv. So you may have some outsiders from Florida joining us, and I feel like there are a couple. So thank you for taking the time to be here today. Gene Jones is the executive director of the Southern Waste Information Exchange. And I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Gene, we love kind of knowing how long you've been in your position and maybe potentially a little bit about how you got into it. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it away from here.
All right. Thanks, Sherry. Hello, everybody. Again, Gene Jones. I'm the executive director for an organization called the Southern Waste Information Exchange. We are a small nonprofit out of Tallahassee, Florida. Been in operation since 1981. I've actually been with the program since it first started. So I'm one of those rare birds that has been in the same position for 44 years. The program itself started between the operation of, see if I can advance the slides right there. Operation that was created through Florida State University, the Florida Chamber of Commerce, and at the time it was the Florida Department of Environmental Regulation, now Department of Environmental Protection. We operated under the university system from 81 to roughly 90, say 94, where we were transferred over to, at the time it was the Florida Center for Solid and Hazardous Waste. It's now the Hinckley Center for Solid and Hazardous Waste. Operated there for 2 years, and then we were actually transferred over to Keep Florida Beautiful. So I worked under the umbrella of KFB from, I guess it was 95 to 96. And we had received some state funding for the operation of the program to continue it on. And unfortunately lost the funding at that point. So we kind of shift direction, made SWIX a separate 501c3. And then I went after legislative funding and convinced the legislature to put it into the budget to assist Florida industry and municipalities, with providing a clearinghouse activity under the waste umbrella for the state of Florida. And we've been in the line item appropriation ever since. So we're in a recurring budget under DEP's section, solid waste section, to again assist industry and municipalities with waste issues. The way that we do that, kind of my matchmaking capacity is we have a relational database that allows companies, municipalities to list materials that are available or wanted. So we kind of think of it as kind of like a Craigslist for the waste industry, as well as services that are provided. The other thing that we do is we maintain a portal called Waste Map. So if you're interested in finding out what's going on in the state of Florida with related to waste, whether that's where the landfills are located, where the waste energy plants are, C&D landfills, what have you. If you'll want to pull it up and kind of play with it, this will kind of give you an idea of what's going on in the state of Florida. What we're going to be talking about today is uh, some collection events that we do and have fostered over the years. Um, and then I'll probably give everybody some lessons learned because what I'm going to share with you today can be replicated no matter where you are. So you can do it in your community. Um, and a lot of the KFB affiliates may want to, take advantage of some of the lessons that we've learned and some of the things that we've done over the years. My initial start in this whole arena actually started back in 1999, where we were contracted to do some Earth Day events in Leon County. And so let me just kind of walk you through what we ended up doing. We ended up setting up to collect, uh, basically set it up as a recycling event tailored under Earth Day. And we selected one of our partners, Home Depot, and worked with them to allow us to come in the night before and set up the parking lot, kind of curve it off in terms of what we were going to be doing and what we were going to be staging and collecting. And then worked with Leon County Solid Waste Department to bring in some containers for us to collect a variety of materials. So it was cardboard, it was paper, it was aluminum cans. So we had the local Tri-Eagle sales at the time with Anheuser-Busch recycler or recycling center brought in, and we were, you know, advertised to the community that we were paying for aluminum cans and got folks to bring in their cans. We marketed the event several weeks in advance in terms of what we were doing to try to get the community involved. We collected, that's a 20-yard roll off. So we collected a bunch of aluminum cans in a day period. So it was kind of impressive to see what all came in. The other thing that we did, and this is going back prior 1999, prior to a lot of the household hazardous waste collection facilities actually accepting electronic waste. So we set this event up to where we could elect electronic waste and planned accordingly for it. So we collected at that time was a lot of CRTs. You really don't see these type of monitors anymore. Usually it's the flat screen TVs. But we collected a lot of this type of material. In addition to that, we collected a lot of the old TV consoles. Fortunately, we don't see those anymore. They're pretty problematic and heavy to deal with. So, as we put this event together, we had to anticipate what we were going to be bringing in and, had a forklift set there to be able to deal with this and manage the materials. We collected large peripheral components related to electronic waste and had, Gaylord boxes set up to deal with that and how to hold, wires and keyboards and affiliated items related to that. And then in the background, you'll see a box truck that we staged to where we could then put all this stuff into and roll it in. So when we were done with the event, we could, leave the site fairly quickly and, go on to the next one. We also collected waste tires as part of the process. And like I said, some of the TVs that came in were pretty voluminous. So we actually emptied that container a couple of times to get it off site. We also collected hardbound books, softbound books that at that time weren't available at the curbside recycling program. And then we just staged everything, shrink wrapped it to keep some of the items in place for transportation reasons, and then loaded them up. Um, we also had media come out, so not only post-event or during the event, but also pre-event to educate the community of what we were doing and the reason behind it. We had our partners involved, not only Home Depot, but Tri-Eagle Sales. That's Susie Bush in this photo, who was one of our key supporters for the event. Um, and this was a while ago. So this is back when I had brown hair, not gray hair. We then promoted the event at the Capitol as part of the Earth Day celebrations. And again, get the word out not just to the regulated community, the residents, but also the legislators of why this is all why recycling is important and the reasons behind it. So from that vent led me down the road of thinking of other ways that we could do specialty collection events. And so that led us down this path, medicine collection event, right? So partnered up with local law enforcement and advertised that we were going to be collecting uh, pharmaceuticals, both prescriptions and over-the-counter meds, and then teamed up with local law enforcement to be able to deal with this. Now, we did this under the umbrella of DEA's protocol at the time for these type of collection events. And we've run them over the last 20 years now here in Tallahassee. I've also done it in Pinellas County a couple of times. But basically, what we do is stage. We worked with Costco, and they allowed us to set up. Excuse me, I'll take a sip here. They allowed us to set up operations at their facility. Again, brought in media to promote the event. And then when we originally started this, we wanted to know, really what we were taking in. So we actually triaged and undid every container that came in and got an idea of the types and amounts of pharmaceuticals. When this originally started, there was a big push to try to, stop the opioid epidemic and to try to keep opioids out of harm's way for children. And so we did some analysis. We actually went through every container, pulled everything out of the containers, recycled the plastics, recycled the paper, and then boxed up all the pills that we had collected and then sent them off with local law enforcement for proper destruction. Um, it's pretty impressive over the years. Every time we do an event, we average roughly at about 2.5 pounds per person of what is brought in terms of pills. So it's a little mind-boggling. You've got some constituents out there that might be with the VA, and they have got bags and bags of pharmaceuticals they bring into us. We also set up and did some events at local assisted living facilities, which was very rewarding because we would have the elders come by on their walkers and stop by our booth and open up their lids on their walker and pull out their meds. And they were extremely appreciative for what we did. Um, we've kind of simplified the way that we run the events now. We still do it here in Tallahassee with Costco. So the way that we promote the event is through signage the week before the event to get the word out to Costco members and anybody that might be shopping at Costco. We've teamed up with DEA specifically for our events now, and DEA supports us by providing, rather than opening every container that comes in, we have some stage boxes and just allow constituents to come in and drop their meds right in the container. So actually, it makes them feel good that they're participating in the program directly. On average, we bring in roughly, I would say 400 to 500 pounds per event of meds. And then as soon as the event is over with, we allow DEA or not allow, DEA takes everything we collect and they take it off for proper disposal. When you run this type of event, you have to have local law enforcement. So if anybody has an interest in this, let me know and I'll walk you through what to do and what not to do. In terms of promotion, we have a full-size banner that we put up inside Costco. We do a newspaper insert. We do a postcard that goes out to all the pharmacies and doctors in the area, letting them know what's going on. And then we have the signage at Costco itself. The other thing that we do is we have some radio spots that we use. Let me just kind of play this for everybody so you can kind of hear it.
iHeartMedia of Tallahassee invites you to Operation Medicine Cabinet, where you can dispose of your unused or expired prescriptions this Saturday from 10 to 2 at Costco. Proper disposal instead of flushing them will help protect our environment and water quality. Brought to you by Southern Waste Information Exchange, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, Leon County Sheriff's Office, DEA, and iHeartRadio. Call 386-6280 or online at swixusa.org. Sharps Medical Waste not accepted.
You kind of heard at the end of that, we indicated what we do not want to accept. We don't want to accept sharps and biomedical waste because that throws us into a different regulatory and would charge us or force us to go down a different path that could get expensive. So we try to stay away from that. The other thing, the other thing that we have done, we started this year, is the use of AI, incorporating AI in our social media campaigns. So if you all haven't played around with AI, I would encourage you to do it to get the word out, whether it's a local event that you're doing through a KFB affiliate. But let me just kind of show you this quick little, I think it's a 30-second slot that we used for promotion of the event under social media.
Expired or unused prescription medications lying around the house? While spring cleaning between now and Saturday, April 26th, sweep out your medicine cabinet for any prescription or over-the-counter meds you don't need anymore. Come on down to Operation Medicine Cabinet at Costco in Tallahassee on Saturday, April 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and help keep our community safe and healthy.
It's amazing what you can do with AI. We're using it at some of our events. We run 6 different conferences right now in the environmental sector. And so we put one of our AI technicians to work, our AI agents, if you will. And it's just amazing. You can take a still picture of like lunch where you have people sitting down, and the AI can generate somebody at a table actually walking in the room and sit down at that table. And it's not real. It's amazing. But why there may be some concerns about AI, I can tell you it definitely can help with the promotion of an event. So I would encourage everybody to look at it because it's cheap. Uh, the other things that we have done, I've done marine debris cleanups. So this is at St. Mark's, Florida, where we staged an event and brought in volunteers to come in and help clean up. And those are very rewarding and can be emulated relatively simple across the state. I've done ammo collection events. So got this idea based off of our first pharmaceutical event because I had had some ammo that had gotten corroded, didn't want to shoot it, wanted to properly dispose of it, and made some calls. And I was having a problem finding somebody that I could that would take the material for proper disposal. Even at that time, our local HHW program didn't want to take it. And so that's all changed now. But at the time, it showed that there was, a problem, and it also, in my mind, showed an opportunity. So we collected ammo, roadside flares, both, vehicle roadside flares as well as boat flares, because both of those flares have shelf lives. They have extensions on them, expiration dates, and what they have to be replaced. So we advertised through the community what we were doing. I actually got a grant to take this around the state. So we worked with Gander Mountain, Bass Pro, and some of the large shooting ranges across the state to do this collection event. During those events, we partnered up with the fire marshal's office that has the bomb squad, and I'm glad we did because we actually collected 3 hand grenades as part of our process. And that's as soon as somebody comes in with a hand grenade that they've gotten out of, grandfather's closet, it's been in there for years since they came back from World War II. We simply just take those hand grenades and turn them directly over to the bomb squad and let them take care of it. It's amazing what you might find in some of these events. The other things that we do is we do a book recycling event right now in Tallahassee. They still generate Florida statutes every year and by book. A lot of it is digital, but they still generate publications for the attorneys and the regulatory offices. And so we operate this program, work with the state of Florida DEP to help us promote what we're doing. We've been doing this event now for 25 years and collect at the Florida Bar. And then all that material all the books that we collect then go to Greif Recycling here in town, and then they are sent off for the recycling to recover the paper and the fiber. The newest event that we have started doing is a battery collection event. So there's a big emphasis right now in concern about lithium ion batteries in the waste stream, mainly because they can cause fires. And it's not just fires in like a garbage truck, which happens from time to time. It's fires in recycling facilities. So if a lithium battery is crushed or exposed to a discharge, it can start a fire. And so we partnered up with a company called Redwood Materials. And Redwood sent us these empty boxes over here on this left-hand side. Those happen to be full at this point, but sent us boxes to collect lithium ion batteries and nickel hydride batteries. We advertised that we were taking all batteries to the community. Again, partnered up with Costco, ran our collection event, and we collected right at about 600 pounds of batteries in a 4-hour period. Both lithium ion, alkalis, metal hydride batteries, and we advertised that we didn't really want automotive batteries. I did take a couple of them from some elderly folks that came in. But we then partnered up with Leon County Household Hazardous Waste Program and worked with them to take the alkaline batteries that we took in, and then Redwood Materials took all the other items, the lithium ion and metal hydride batteries. We ran the event just like we ran all our events that we do at Costco. It's the promotion. The week before, have the signage out there, and then the day of, we go in and set up operations and then allow folks to come in and bring us their bags of batteries, at which point we then triage everything that comes in. One of the lessons I learned since this was our first event is you're going to have folks bring in large volumes or bags of batteries. There's going to be a mixture. Majority of the folks don't know the difference between a lithium ion battery and an alkaline battery. So they won't be separated. And so one of the things I did learn is as people bring in their batteries, the alkaline batteries tend to corrode. And so it gets a little messy. And so, the lessons I learned from this is moving forward, if we do this again, is I will have containers where folks can drop their batteries in, plastic containers, allow us to go through with, gloves and sort out what is there, pull out the lithium ion and metal hydride batteries and deal with them separately. All like the button batteries we tape them. I think you can see that in this example right here. So we're taping the batteries down or putting the batteries down on tape. And then we fold that tape over so we're not exposing the terminals so they don't touch each other. So you don't want to run a situation where you could set off a fire during the shipping process to Redwood. And then like I said, all the other batteries that we collected, the alkaline batteries and even some lead batteries back up here were then sent off to Leon County Household Hazardous Waste Collection Program where they can deal with these. Real quickly, I'll give you a little bit of an update or kind of if y'all aren't familiar with it, if you've ever seen a tomato field or a strawberry field here in the state of Florida, they use what's known as agricultural mulch film. It's LDPE film, which is used in the growing of the fruits and vegetables. Is actually a plastic film that stretches over a little mound and then is tucked into the ground to keep the plastic film in place. And there's a drip line a hose, if you will, that runs underneath that plastic that provides water. So there's constant water that goes off periodically during the day to keep the plants hydrated and provide them the water that they need. And then at the end of the growing season, that film is either baled up, piled up, stored somewhere on property, or unfortunately, it's managed this way, where it is actually burnt in the field at the end of the growing season. We generate here in the state of Florida roughly 40,000 tons of agricultural plastic. The vast majority of that plastic is actually burnt in the field. There is an exemption in Chapter 403 that allows the farmers to burn polyethylene film in the field at the end of the growing season. So this is a good example of that where it's piled up and burnt, and then the residual is either plowed into the field or scooped up and then hauled off to the landfill. Um, it's being burnt in the same fields the next crop is going to be grown in. So I've been working on this problem since 1999. And the problem with the film from a recycling standpoint, and why it hasn't been recycling up until recently, is the amount of soil contamination. And I'll show you some slides from that. I'm hoping that the Hinckley Center is actually going to look at this issue of burning the film in the fields. This year, I think there's a research project being proposed that'll look at the effect of the petroleum contaminants being burnt in the field. So what the effect is on soil and what the effect is on plant uptake. Another example of after it's burnt, where it's then scooped up or plowed into the field. The solution to this, there's a company by the name of RCL Operations down on the Bell, Florida. Formerly, company was named called Recypoly. They set up operations about 8 years ago to try to address this issue, but the equipment that they had bought really couldn't deal with the amount of soil contamination that's associated with the film. When you pull that film out of the field, what you think, bale it all up, what you think is a relatively clean bale of plastic is really a bale of soil. It's 70% by weight of the film that you pull up. And so when you're dealing with something that heavily contaminated with an abrasive item like soil, traditional recycling equipment just can't do it. And so I've researched over the years trying to figure out how you solve this issue. And I've run trials with the cement industry, figuring out, well, if traditional recycling, film recycling can't work, maybe somebody else can use this film. And rather than burn it in the field, maybe we can get some energy value out of it. So I worked with the cement industry and ran some trials with some of the cement plants that are looking at replacing the amount of coal that they burn with alternative fuels. The film itself is great in BTU value. But again, the soil is the issue. And so after our initial trial, I had one plant that took in 3,000 tons of mulch film that I got them. And after the first 1,000 tons, they said, thanks, but no thanks. It's costing us $16,000 a week in blade replacement on our shredder. And we can't go down that route, which I understood. And so that led me down the path of trying to find if traditional shredders don't work in the recycling industry, there are shredders out in the solid waste industry and mainly the construction and demolition debris industry that can deal with abrasive materials. So we got a grant from the Department of Agriculture 2 years ago to buy some equipment. The main piece of equipment is what you see here on the left. This is an M&J shredder. It just devours mulch film, does a fantastic job. To where we can shred the material, but you still have the situation where you've got soil contamination. So we then run that through a trommel screen to reduce out that soil level. And actually, we've got a series of trommel screens that we run this through. Not only two dry trommel screens, we run a wet trommel screen, and then we go into a wet wash tank. All that water and soil is then sent off to these sediment ponds that you see up here. where the soil, the water, the, the the soils tend to settle on the bottom. We then recycle that water back through the system, and it's recovered and filtered back for recycling capabilities. Um, what is produced is a plastic pellet that you see here. This could either then go into traditional recycling, or in this case, we actually containerize it. These are super sacks. Each bag weighs roughly about a ton, and those are then sent off. Oh, I didn't throw it in the slide, but they're sent off. Our end market is a company called Exxon, right? Exxon developed a pyrolysis facility in Houston, Texas. They put in about $220 million in their facility. And so they're taking all the plastics that are coming from this project and converting them back into petrochemicals. Um, it's far better than burning in the field. I know there's some concern and some questions about whether pyrolysis works. And I know there has been some facilities that have started up operations and closed. I will tell you, if Exxon gets involved with something and they put that amount of money into it, pyrolysis works. And I can assure you that there's a future here in the United States with recycling low value plastics that we don't have options on traditional recycling because the economics don't work. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I'd entertain whether anybody has any questions on any of the programs that I've kind of showed you. Um, happy to answer questions at this time. So Sherry, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Jean, so much. We really appreciate you being here again. I'm gonna open it up for questions. I have a few myself, but I'm gonna see what all the affiliates have. If you guys want to raise your hand or unmute yourself so I know who's interested. All right, I'll start until Madison, or you're unmuted. Did you have a question? No, maybe not. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start us off, Jean. So, I really liked seeing the different programs. I'm not aware of any of our affiliates doing a medicine recycling program. I think that's really interesting. How much does that typically cost, Swix? Are you open to sharing the costs behind a program like that?
Yeah, so for our promotion, I budget about $2,000,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that handles with the radio spot. We get a lot of free radio out of it because I've got iHeartMedia involved at the local level. So they give us a lot of airtime.
Great.
I think we put 500 in radio. We put roughly about 800 in the newspaper insert. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Originally, when we first started doing this, the newspaper insert brought in roughly 80% of our attendees, right? But that was back when Tallahassee Democrat had a distribution of like 55,000. It's down below 7,000 now.
Yeah,
So, because you just don't print newspapers like they did. I will tell you, we still get roughly 14 to 15% coming in from the newspaper, and it's typically the gray hairs, right? People like me that still like to read the paper. Um, the other things that we do is we put some money in social media, so we boost our posts. And then we do the mail out. So we've got a database that we developed of all the pharmacies in town, some of the key doctors' offices that see a lot of people, and then send out that postcard that we generate. So that takes up the bulk of the rest of the $2,000. Um,
that's great.
does it cost us anything for Costco? Does it cost us anything for DEA? Like I said, you have to have local law enforcement involved. So you got to get their buy-in. They've got to be willing to send an officer at the event.
Deputy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So,
we do it in conjunction with DEA, and this is key. We do it in conjunction with DEA's drug take back events.
Mm,
Right now, up until now, they've done it twice a year. They've done it in October and April.
okay.
I'm not so sure right now. We haven't gotten the go-ahead of whether DEA is going to have the funds because they did get some budget cuts. Whether DEA is going to fund the October event or not. Um, my advice to everybody that's listening is you definitely want to coordinate this with DEA and do it on the day that they collect. They usually do it the third week of October and the third weekend of April.
Do they only collect in their offices? They're not doing like what you're doing out in the public education style? Are theirs is like they open it to the public, but you have to drop it off at their office? Is that
No,
how they do?
it has to run through someone that has got local law enforcement involved. So there are other folks like me that are doing this across the country, or it's going to be a local law enforcement office, a sheriff's office or a police department that has a drop-off location, right?
Okay,
Some of them have their own boxes inside local law enforcement and they take them back.
great.
Or they'll do a public event, kind of like what we do. So you would have the sheriff office or police department setting up their own event and promoting that we're going to be collecting on this day. Bring us your meds. And then what they then do is turn it over to DEA, and DEA deals with all the meds that are collected during that day across the
That's
country.
that's great. Which is awesome because again, like we have other people on here. I saw someone from a Georgia affiliate, and I think I saw someone from a South Carolina affiliate on the line.
Yep.
So that's really helpful for them as well. And I did see in the chat, I was incorrect. Several of my affiliates also, Tammy with Wakulla, she works with their sheriff's office. And then Rhonda said that she said that she's actually worked with you from Charlotte County. So that's really great that we are doing some of this, but I think it could be probably more used. Lynn, I see that you have a question. Lynn, you there?
Oh, yes. I'm having issues today. You've heard of our water contamination down here, so I can't think straight.
You're okay.
I was wondering, Gene, if you have office hours. You're in Tallahassee?
Yes.
Because I'm down here in Apalachicola, Franklin County,
Yep.
and we don't recycle. And Keep Franklin County Beautiful has tried to start getting people to do that, but we'll be here this day, bring your aluminum cans, and then we take it to the landfill. It's very labor intensive. Um, but anyway, I'd love to come talk to you, maybe bring some of our board members on some ideas you might have on how to make this more, a little bit easier maybe, and also more successful.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to talk with you, Lynn.
Okay.
So Sherry, I don't know if you can you can take a screenshot. There's my email and phone number,
Yeah.
Lynn,
Okay.
on the screen. So just reach out to me.
And
Perfect.
I want to circle back on Lynn. I give her major kudos. I'm always tooting her horn whether she wants me to or not, because Lynn has only been in Keep Franklin County Beautiful as one of our newer affiliates. She's been around for like, I don't know, maybe a year or so. And to her point, Franklin County has no recycling services anymore. And she's doing glass recycling. She's doing aluminum can recycling. She's really trying to expand, and she's working with the local businesses and she's getting some good buy-in. She's doing a phenomenal job. So I definitely think with some resources from Eugene, she could 100% be doing even more. So Lynn, keep up the good work. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
We're trying to recycle plastic bottles right now because that's what everybody is using for drinking water.
Yep, I'm sure. I'm sorry to hear about all the issues that Franklin County is having. That's rough. So if you need anything, let us know. Um, do we have any other questions for Jean about battery recycling? I know a lot of affiliates in a lot of counties and cities have the battery recycling programs through their hazardous waste. Obviously now I'm seeing that more are doing the oh, here we go. I'm missing a lot of this. Oh, these are old. Wow. Okay, sorry, my chat is acting up. That's weird. Does anyone else have any questions for Jean? Kenneth, go ahead, please.
Jason, Gene. Um, my apologies, everyone. I'm at lunch right now, but luckily I have our intern, summer intern, taking notes right now back at the office. I would love to have this presentation in order to send to our Waste Pro uh, coordinator slash committee member for our affiliates and a couple of others. I think there's a multitude of items within this presentation that we can utilize. I'll get our police on board as well. But once again, fantastic. Loved it.
Good. Glad you can take something from it, Ken.
And Kenneth, I am recording, so I can definitely send this to you. And Jean's contact information is in it, so you can definitely share that with whoever you'd like to. Always remember with these webinars, you guys are more, it's not just for the executive director of the affiliate. If you have someone within your organization or another organization that you think would benefit from a speaker that we're bringing on, please don't hesitate to share it. I don't mind, and I think that the more people who learn about these wonderful programs and the more organizations that we have on board with trying to find ways to recycle and do different things within our communities, the better. So, absolutely. So Jean, I do have a question because you are the Southern Waste Information Exchange. I know you because you're based in Florida and you typically do mostly Florida related items. Do you work within other communities throughout the South?
It's funny you asked that question because when we originally started, we used the term Florida Waste Information Exchange or FWIX. But
Mm-hmm.
it became real apparent after the first year of operation that if you're in Jacksonville or Pensacola, the waste stream that you generate are going outside the state of Florida. In fact, I'll say that now for the entire state of Florida, all majority of the recyclables that are generated here in the state are going outside of the state. So that's why we changed our name to Southern, is because we didn't want to give the outside recyclers the idea that we just wanted to focus just on Florida. We don't. We want to assist the entire industry. So we work with South Carolina right now. We run South Carolina's materials exchange program for them. It uses our software, our portal, but it makes it look the way that we've designed through our IT person that we contract with as though it's their own site, but it's really ours.
That's great. I love hearing that because, like I said, I know that there is a affiliate on from South Carolina, and we've got one on from Georgia. So Um, I want to make sure it's very clear that they can also reach out to you and
Oh,
you can help
absolutely.
them.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent. Love hearing that. Because it is, as a Keep America Beautiful, affiliate and being a part of the network, we like to try and if we have overlapping information, it's good to share that. So that's great. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. Anyone else have a question or comment for Jean? So, Jean, I have to tell you, I'm not sure if I did initially, but Chris Perry is the one that told me to reach out to
Yes.
you. Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Because he was very much like, you got to get in contact with Jean. And I did want to say that we did receive because I'm on their board. I don't know if I told you that. And I'm on their research selection committee. They did receive an agriculture plastic mulch
Good.
program
Good.
thing. Sorry, I forgot what it's called. Presentation. And I'm if I remember correctly, I'm pretty positive they were one of the ones that we chose because it is really important to not only SWIX, but also it's a big priority for DEP as well. So they were one of our ones that we funded. So you'll hear
Okay,
about that pretty soon.
good.
And I'm pretty sure you're on their tag. So
I'm on one of the tags that has to do with the recycling. There's a recycling tag right now that I'm involved with.
great, 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 great. So, um, well, if no one else has any questions, I'll give everyone one more chance to ask a question. Raise a hand, unmute yourself, jump in.
Well, I've got a question for maybe everybody that's on board that might be able to
Sure.
help me. So I just attended Recycle Florida's Today conference this last 3 days. And I had somebody that has formed a new KFB affiliate. I think it's Indian River. Or no, it's Flagler. It's
Flagler
Flagler.
Beach,
Yep.
Daryl.
Yep.
It was Daryl.
Yeah. So Daryl came up to me asking me they want to do like an adopt a. So in Flagler Beach, it's all dunes going down to the ocean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they have these crosswalks that go over the dunes that they want to try to run a program, which is kind of like adopt a crosswalk, right? Not
Yes.
adopt the road, but adopt a crosswalk where they will have a container there um, that a sponsor can put their logo on it or whatever. I'm just curious, is anybody that's on the call, or maybe you know, Sherry, does anybody do something similar to that, where it's adopt a container that might be able to provide some assistance to Daryl?
So
Um,
Andrew, do you have something?
well, yeah, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with Beach Bucket Foundation.
No,
I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about as far as a container and the purpose of it,
it's a
but
recycling container. I think what they're really going after is so one would be two containers, one for trash and one for aluminum cans. They only want to focus on aluminum cans.
okay. So what we do is we provide beach cleanup stations, basically, cubicles that have buckets in them. We promote the foundation through sponsorships where we place logos on the buckets. People can use the buckets to pick up trash while they're at the beach.
Okay.
They bring the trash back, put it in the garbage can, and move on with their day.
Okay.
So we really don't, there's no way, being that they're self-serve, there's really no way that we have gotten into differentiating, separating the material.
Right.
You when we first started, I initially wanted to accept the recyclables, but we started out in Palm Beach County and they do not offer that through the county anymore.
Right.
And the majority of the municipalities don't offer that just because there's so much more involved in maintaining that kind of system. So yeah, that's
Okay.
So, Jean, when I spoke to Daryl about it, because Flagler Beach is a really small community, if it's gonna work in a community, it'll work in Flagler Beach because there's a lot of local buy-in there, it sounds like.
Right.
And it's not, to Andrew's point, it's not like a huge county or, so to get the residents to kind of buy into it, I think it's possible. Um, but I mentioned to him like that might be a really great Boy Scout project or Girl Scout project, and he works heavily with the Girl Scouts, so I know that's like kind of an avenue he's trying to take.
Okay.
So, Kenneth, do you have something to add?
Yeah, so Gene, you may want to look towards Jupiter. I believe they have a bucket program very similar to that. And we have a little bit of a grassroots effort here in North Miami. One of our park naturalists does it for one of these particular parks where we have a major problem with the invasive air potato plant. So it's just, take a bucket and please pick up as many as you possibly can. But you may want to look towards Jupiter. I think they share the same sentiment as far as
Now
keeping your beaches clean.
that's us. So we started out in Palm Beach County. We've branched off into Cocoa Beach, Indian Atlantic, and actually I just got done today building out 10 stations that we just signed a contract with the Florida State Parks with Florida DEP to do a 10 park pilot with our Florida State Parks and with their intentions of providing the stations throughout our Florida State Park system if they go over well.
Andrew, is there a website or something that I could look at what y'all are doing?
Yeah, Beach Bucket Foundation.
Okay.
And I have to point out, Andrew, you're our July presenter, correct? Yes. So
Well,
Andrew,
yeah, that I think was the plan. But I'm not as well educated or as Gene or
no, no, don't say that. That's the whole point of these webinars is to show different things that affiliates and organizations can do throughout the state.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
no, we're very excited to have you in July. So, and I like, the people that are on right now, they're learning a little bit about your organization right now, but it varies who's on these, but it gets sent out to like over 100 people. So you never know who's going to show up.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I'm excited. I mean, yeah, I appreciate the invite and I'm honored, I'm
absolutely.
yeah.
That's great.
And Gene,
Well,
thank you for the presentation. That was really informational and very well done.
Good.
So
Thank you.
thank you.
yes. Does anyone else have any questions? Well, we just have a few more minutes. But I will take anything else if anyone has questions or comments. No? Okay, great. Thank you, Jean, so much for your time. I can't thank you enough for being here. We always appreciate our presenters because I know you have to take some time out of your day, but we really
Sherry,
appreciate.
Sherry, in closing, let me just say it's a pleasure to talk to everybody. Being with the KFB organization, at least, for a couple years there, I appreciate what everybody does. And Sherry, I have to really tell you, I appreciate your call because had you not called me, I would have forgotten about this. So,
No worries. I try to keep on top of things because I also get distracted. And I noticed that like we hadn't emailed in the last like day or two, and I was like, man, I should have emailed him. And I was like, you know what? Let me just give him a call.
well, I was out of
So
town the last 3 days, and I came back,
yeah,
and I've
you're
got my
busy.
mother-in-law's 92nd birthday tomorrow, and so I've got
Wow.
kids descending, and I got a call at 9 o'clock from two of my grandkids saying, "Will you come swim with me?" So I ran
Oh.
home, jumped in the pool with them, and thank God I came back. So,
Good thing. Good thing.
yeah.
Well, thanks again, Jean. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget DOT money. You need to have it spent by the 30th. And you have until the end of July, July 31st, to send in your documentation to Dana. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Um,
Thank you
it's a
guys.
little cooler in Tallahassee this week, so I'm really grateful for that. I'm hoping everyone is getting a little bit of cool air. I don't know. It's not much, but thanks again, everyone. Have a good day.
All
You
right,
too.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Mm, yeah, cool.